Hey there, it's Chuck with MTG The Journey and RogueDeckBuilder.com for today's spoilers. Sorry we didn't get to Fridays, but like I said, I was at my National Guard uh, unit for 4 days, so I didn't really get a chance to preview any of Friday's stuff. But here we are on Monday, and we have some very interesting stuff to go over here. So we'll go back to MTG Salvation to catch up on the stuff we missed, but we're going to go ahead and just check out Mero's Incredible Journey Part 2 here and see what our preview card is for that. I did read through this last night when it was spoiled, and basically he just talks about how they came up with the Strive mechanic, which we have seen. They originally wanted to have it be a doubling +1/+1 counter thing, and then the next thing they wanted to do with it was instead of having it be a doubling +1/+1 counters thing, they tried to do it where it would be just adding 1/1 counters to it, and then they came up, it resupply is what they tried to do, and then they were thinking about bringing back the buyback mechanic, and they were actually going to bring back buyback, but they didn't think it was powerful enough and it had problems. So they came up with Strive, and this is our spoiler card here, Twin Flame. It's a 2 casting cost sorcery, and it costs 3 more to cast for each target beyond the first, and any number of target creatures you control. For each of them, put a token that's a copy of that creature onto the battlefield. Those tokens have haste, and exile them at the beginning of the next end step. So basically, you can just copy a bunch of stuff. So it's just a mana dump, basically, which I think is going to be really fun. If this cards like this are making red a color to pick in draft. So if you get this, it's going to make your stuff a little bit more appealing. So, and we have Athreos spoiled. I love this card already. It's a 3 casting cost 5/4, which you think to yourself 5/4, but he's indestructible, so he still isn't going to get hit by a Bio Blight type deal. So as long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7, Athreos isn't a creature, and whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless your opponent pays 3 life. So he's either a life drain or returns a creature to your hand. So either way, it's going to be pretty awesome. I like this. He does more damage than Mogus, and if they kill your creatures, you just get them back to recast them. So this is going to work in a lot of different strategies. And we also have this Hydra Broodmaster, which we'll look at here in a second. And I think that's all for Mero's article here. And Developmental Journey by Dave Humphreys. We'll take a look at this. And they also preview Athreos, which we've seen. And this is a new one right here, Forgeborn Oreads. Whenever Forgeborn Oreads or another enchantment enters the battlefield under your control, Forgeborn Oreads deals 1 damage to target creature or player. It's a 4/2 for 4. So this seems pretty good for Constellation in red. Again, these are enchantment-centric decks, so you're going to want to be playing in the enchantment mechanics, but still seems pretty cool for red. But it seems a little high-costed for red. We've seen both of those. Eidolon the Great Rebel is a 2 casting cost 2/2 enchantment creature. Whenever a player casts a spell with converted mana cost 3 or less, Eidolon of the Great Rebel deals 2 damage to that player. So this seems like it's going to get used quite a bit. Yeah, unless you are casting them, which then it's going to hurt you. But I still think we're going to see something that's going to revolve around this, because we have Fire Drinker Satyr, which deals 2 damage, or deals damage to its opponent equal to damage dealt to it. And this deals 2 damage to a player that casts less than 2 spells. So I think there's going to be a card coming that we'll see that whenever you're dealt damage, your opponent is dealt twice that much damage or something like that. I think we're going to see something along those lines, because those cards don't really make a whole lot of sense. To me anyways. So, and I don't know, and maybe it just is this is a card that you play early game to punish your creatures for, or punish weenie decks or whatever. I don't really know. I'd be interested to see how these cards play out. But we also have this new one here, Prophetic Flame Speaker. It's a 3-drop 1/3. It's a human shaman. It has double strike, trample, and whenever Prophetic Flame Speaker deals combat damage to a player, exile the top card of your library. You may play it this turn. So this guy, people are going to be looking to buff like crazy to try to get through for damage, so they can exile top card of their library. It's kind of like a mini Chandra in a way. So he looks pretty cool. Definitely like that. Red's got some pretty cool stuff. We've seen both of these, Sates and Tastix and Ajani's Presence. And this actually looks kind of like an ent here. So that's kind of cool. And we have Hydra Broodmaster right here. And this is an XX green monstrosity X. If this creature isn't monstrous, put X +1/+1 counters on it and it becomes monstrous. Whenever Hydra Broodmaster becomes monstrous, put XX green Hydra creature tokens onto the battlefield. So, a lot of text, but basically it does the same thing as Polukranos, except that it puts out Hydra tokens instead of dealing damage to everything. But it uses the same algorithm pretty much with XX green for monstrosity, so that's pretty cool. And every one of these that you get, if you put XX green into it, it's going to be a 1/1. If you put 2/2 green into it and monstrosity, they're going to be 2/2s and 3/3s and so on and so forth. So they're just going to keep multiplying for as much mana as you dump into this. So I see this being more of a mono green rampy type deck card. So it's just going to increase problematically. If you drop this and get to pull this monstrous off, you're in pretty good shape. So that's it for his article. And we do have this Lucky Jin, or Din or Jin, I'm not really sure how you say that. But it's all about flying creatures and how much you would pay for them. I really recommend reading this article. It's very nice, very well written article here. And it talks about how Desecration Demon is a 6/6 for flyer, but sometimes he's just off in the middle of nowhere doing his own thing. So we're going to come down here to look at our new card, Master of the Feast. It's a 3-drop, 1 black, 5/5 flyer, and at the beginning of your upkeep, each opponent draws a card. So this card has the ability to be stupid, just crazy. So I like this card. It does come with the downside of your opponent drawing cards, but unless they're playing something that's really going to help them with a lot of removal or etc., then this is going to be a worse deal for them than it is for you. But I'm kind of torn as to the downside and upside of this card. Like, if you have cards that make them discard, you don't really care about them drawing cards. But if the other side of the token is that, you know, he's a 5/5 for 3. So by the time you get to cast this, they're basically on a 3-turn time clock, as long as you've been beating down already. So they have to find something to deal with this thing pretty quickly. And especially if you're playing this into Desecration Demon, it's going to be pretty nasty. So really like this card, Master of the Feast. And that's all that's on the Mothership side today. So we'll go over ahead and go into Journey of the Nyx spoilers on MTG Salvation here. And we'll go ahead and look through here. And Riptide Chimera looks new here. And there's your art for you. It's a shark with a flying thing. It does have flying. In the beginning of your upkeep, return an enchantment you control to its owner's hand. So you can return another creature. This is a heroic enabler right here is what this is. You can return any enchantment you control to its owner's hand at the beginning of your upkeep. So then you can recast it to target something else that's heroic. So this is going to fit into a heroic deck. This Hypnotic Siren, I think, came out on Friday, and it's a 6 casting cost or 7 casting cost bestow, but 1 casting cost cast. It's a flying and you control enchanted creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. So yeah, you can enchant their creature and it becomes yours. So that seems pretty good. I don't know how many of these. I don't remember how many of these got. I don't even actually know. So I'm just going to kind of slowly scroll through here, and you can pause it if you haven't seen any of these yet. But yeah, this Extinguish All Hope is pretty stupid. I love it. Destroy all non-enchantment creatures. Master of the Feast, and we have King Makar the Gold Cursed here, which we didn't see. And it's a 2 black, and it's an inspired mechanic. Whenever King Makar the Gold Cursed becomes untapped, you may exile target creature. If you do, put a colorless artifact token named Gold onto the battlefield. It has sacrificed this artifact, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, there you go. There's the art. It looks like it's supposed to be King Midas. So, totally stupid flavorful. Love it. 2/3 for 4. That, yeah, you can exile any of their creatures or your creatures to create mana. Pretty sweet. So, there's the Master of the Feast we saw. This card, Worst Fears, I love. You control target player during that player's next turn. Exile Worst Fears. I want to play that card during Limited. That's like a goal of mine for this set, is to play this card in Limited, just to be fun. We do have some new stuff here. Riddle of Lightning is choose target creature or player, scry 3, then reveal the top card of your library. Riddle of Lightning deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost of the creature or player. That's a new one. And Twin Flame we saw. Cyclops of Eternal Fury we know about. Flurry, yeah, sure. Snow. Hero's Bane I think we saw. I don't want to Blossoms. Ferrisband Warchief is Vigilance and Trample, and other Centaur creatures you control get +1/+1 and have Vigilance and Trample. Seems pretty good. And I think that's pretty much it for green that was new. And we have the Athreos, but Farika looks like she's actually on here. So we have Farika there. And her ability is exile target creature card from the graveyard. Its owner puts a 1/1 black green snake enchantment creature token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. So we do get a Death Touch ability out of her, and she's a 5/5 for 3, which is freaking awesome. So yeah, that's going to definitely go in my Golgari deck. And it's an enchantment. So, holy cow. Wow, we could go crazy with that. I'm going to do a separate video on that. Anyways, but that's what we have for today. So yeah. So hope you guys got something out of that, and we'll look to talk to you later on tomorrow probably, as I do have to go to work here. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that, and we will talk to you later. Thanks for watching. It's been Chuck with MTG The Journey and RogueDeckBuilder.com.